Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Sarah, also known as Laugh Love Langella, and in today's video we're going to be doing some summer floral arrangement ideas. In case you missed my last video, I shared some tips and tricks for how I have put my floral arrangements together over the years, some things I've learned along the way that have really helped me in better putting them together. But in this video, I'm going to give you guys some ideas for some summer styling and put some of those tips and tricks to actual use in real time. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you missed that video, I'll have it linked in the video description below. But let's get right into some summer floral arrangement styling. So we are going to start off today with my go-to favorite arrangement for summer, which is my Eucalyptus and Peony one. I do this every single year and I just love it so much that I just repeat it. So we're going to start off with our base greenery, which are these lawn leaf eucalyptus stems. These are from Kirkland's and I love the color tone of them and the size. So this is just 2 stems. I'll probably use 3 to be totally honest, just to fill in the middle part a little bit more. But we're going to start off with the 2 and see where we get with that. But with your stems, just make sure you're bending them so they're not all standing up perfectly straight. Give them more movement and direction so they look that much more realistic. Now for the florals, I have a mixture of different ones. I have some that were from Target years ago, Hobby Lobby, some other craft store. And if you can see, I have a different color variation within them. So you'll see some tones of pink and green in it. And that really helps break up against the stark white of a couple of these to just, again, make it look that much more realistic. As I mentioned in my last video, I love to have a variety of the same type of stems, so that way too I have a little bit of color play happening. Some of them have a bud on it as well, so I think it just really enhances the arrangement and creates more fullness as well. I did opt to put the 3rd eucalyptus stem in because I didn't want there to just be florals with sparses of greenery within it. And I just make sure when I'm placing the stems that I'm also tucking them in between those eucalyptus stems so that they're blended that much better. Normally at this point I would go straight in and add the blackberry, raspberry stems. I call them different things every video and I apologize for it. Normally I'd add the blackberry stems, but I want to add just a little bit more this time around. And I saw these beautiful like seeded type of stems. Hannah Naylor used them in one of her videos and I knew I wanted to incorporate them in something this year. So we're going to add a pop of color. I'm just going to pull these apart from each other so we get a better spread within here. And just a quick tip, if you don't really know how far to cut or bend your stem, hold it outside of it and kind of see where you're going to land. This is clearly going to be too tall. So I'm just going to bend it down at this point and then see where it'll sit from there. And the same as the floral stems, I'm making sure I'm taking these seeded ones and tucking them in between the eucalyptus and the florals. And the last touch are the accent floral pieces. We're going to add in these blackberry ones to add in some more texture to this arrangement. This is very, very full, lots of texture, lots of things happening in it, but I just love it because then I can decorate more simplistically on the side of it. But I love what these add to it. I love the contrast that these blackberry stems add into any arrangement. They're my go-to for the spring and especially summer months. I purchased mine originally from Afloral. They are no longer sold there, but are available on Magnolia. Now for a smaller complementary arrangement, when I am styling a space, for example, my entryway and my living room, I like the arrangements to be complementing to each other, have some of the same qualities, because they're in the same area as each other. You don't need to perfectly copy your arrangement. You can always do a similar color style or color story to what the other one is. Or just go for an everyday greenery type of thing. But when it comes to my summer styling, I do like to do my main entry arrangement in a smaller way. So I'm going to use this shorter concrete planter pot. I had gotten this from the Depot a few years ago now, and I love it. I love the texture of it and the size. It's quite a statement, but we're going to start off with these smaller asparagus bushes from Hobby Lobby and use that as our base greenery. It'll also provide some structure so that the stems have something to push into, so that way they'll stay in place as well and won't be just falling all over the place. Now for the peonies, I'm going to use these peony bud stems. I got these from an older craft site, but there are some on Etsy. They also come in a pink color too. So if you're looking for a nice pop of color, you can do that. But what I like to do is bend my stem, especially for the ones that are going on the lower part of this, because I don't want them sticking out super far. I want it to have a more natural flow to it, but I'll bend it and just tuck it into that asparagus bush, kind of push them down, because naturally the bud is heavy, so it will be falling in comparison. And we're going to just go through and kind of every so often place one. And then you'll see on the secondary row, we'll kind of come up a little bit more. Again, tucking it into the asparagus bush. And we're going to have this one kind of more upright in comparison to the others. Now at this point we have all of our peonies set, and you'll see they're kind of forming their own triangles within the arrangement. I'm going to take some seeded eucalyptus stems and we're going to work these in between where those gaps are to create more fullness in the arrangement. I love to use these seeded eucalyptus stems. They're a great filler piece, but they add so much texture and depth to your arrangement as well. I have also in the past added just a couple of these in my entryway arrangement to help bring that darker tone to it as well, and I love the look of that. But they're just super versatile, a great filler, and always look amazing. And the last touch to tie this into our entry arrangement, we're going to add a couple of these blackberry stems as well to this one. For our next arrangement, I'm going to switch it up and use this Our House Umbria urn. These I actually have in our master bedroom. I love the color and the texture on them. They're all a little bit different from each other as well. It's a very grayish type of vase. It has some gray, some beige tones. I would say it leans a little bit more beige than gray, but I think it's great, especially if you're trying to mix in a lot of different styles and items within your home. This one is really great. So we're going to use this. And then we're going to use these stems I found from At Home. They remind me a lot of a rose bush in the leaf pattern and shape. And I really like how full each stem is, but as you can see, when you put it in, it just falls right to the side. So a very simple trick. You can obviously do the tape grid pattern if you want to put your stems in. That can be a little difficult when you have a thicker base stem such as this one. So what I'm actually going to do is just grab a plastic bag that I already had on hand. I apologize for the noise. And just wrap it around that stem. And all of a sudden, you'll see that it can kind of stay a little bit more in the middle. You might have to finesse it a bit, and especially once you start adding in the other stems, it'll help keep it centered as so. But it just makes it that much easier. So that way, if you're looking to have something centered greenery-wise, such as this, you can actually have it in the middle rather than it falling all over the place. And it's a super simple trick. Obviously, like, these are still falling over a little. I could probably grab a couple more bags to stuff it with, but I know I'm adding more stems and I don't want to make it difficult. So we're going to start off with the base greenery. And now we're going to add in these beautiful pink Real Feel roses. These were from Home Goods. And we're just going to tuck these in as well, varying the heights of them too, so it gives a more realistic look to the arrangement. And I'm trying to, as best I can, change the direction that the bud wants to rest in, just so it looks more realistic. Another tip is you can always pop off a piece of greenery if you're seeing a gap, and then you can just tuck it into that spot that's missing the greenery. A lot of these faux stems, you can easily pop the stems off and put them back on with the leaves. So it's just a super simple way to ensure that your arrangement is nice and full. Now you very well could, for this arrangement, add in some of those blackberry stems to help give some more texture and stuff, but I wanted this to kind of look like I went outside, clipped a piece of rose bush off, and put it in a pot. So that's what we're going for with this one, and it's super simplistic as well. Now, for the complementary arrangement for the roses, like I mentioned earlier, you do not need to have a perfect carbon copy of what you are doing in the front section. So I'm going to use these cream teacup roses. They're a different color, they're a different size, but they're in the same family as the rose stems that we have up front. So that way it still looks cohesive with them being so close to each other in the space. So I'm going to put these in. They're very sparse as is. I don't mind it, but I do prefer to have a little bit more of a fuller look. So I'm going to add in these eucalyptus stems to just give that fullness that I am seeking for them. I just wanted to say a quick thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel today. If you are enjoying today's video and would love to see more of this in the future from me, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and thank you as always for watching. Now for our next one, I'm going to use this vase. It's another handled one. This was from TJMaxx. I love the distressing on this. It gives a very similar look to the Our House one. Obviously, certain style differences. The handles are a little bit different and whatnot, but it gives that vintage inspired look, which I really love. But we're gonna do the lilac stems in this one. So I'm going to be using these beautiful lilac stems. These were from Prestige Botanicals. They were definitely an investment floral. They are real touch, which I really love. But when it comes to the lilacs, there's not much you can do style-wise. However, when you have a lot of different colors, that is something to keep in mind when it comes to putting your arrangement actually together. So you can separate them first by color, so that way you don't have any clustering happening. I have, let's see, I have 3 of the blue and 3 of the magenta, let me see, and 3 white ones as well, but some of these have a double floral head on it. So the blue ones, you'll see I have 3 of these stems with a total of 6 florals. So what we're going to do is first just, again, bend, cut your stems however you please. I'm just going to place some of the taller ones in the back. And I'm going to have these 2 be away from each other at first. And we're going to add in a different color in between them. And just kind of keep doing it where you're alternating them. And I like to make sure the ones in the front have a shorter stem than the ones in the back. So that way they have a natural kind of break on them. And then I'll move this other blue one around. We'll put a magenta over here. So that way we are, in a very unintentional way, doing the triangle display of each of the colors of the florals as well, to help kind of break them up in the mix. But don't be afraid if you have 2 whites next to each other or something. It's really not the end of the world at all, but it's just something to keep in mind when you are styling these. Try to break them up as best you can to have a better balance of color within your arrangement. Now for a complementing arrangement to the lilacs, I don't have any more lilac stems, but what I do have are some of these white and cream Cosmos from Hobby Lobby. They are obviously a different floral, however, we're pulling in the white color that is in the lilac arrangement so that they still are cohesive, being in the same space as each other. These Cosmos from Hobby Lobby are great to use for the spring and summer months. You can easily style them as is on their own, as I am here, or you can put a filler piece in as well if you're looking for a fuller arrangement. Because the lilac one is so full, I figured we'd do something more sparse here, and I'm just making sure I'm bending all the florals in different directions so they're not standing perfectly straight up. And for our last arrangement today, I'm going to use this Anthropology Dupe vase. I had gotten this at HomeSense, but I know some people have seen them at Home Goods. And there is a smaller dupe version in black at Hobby Lobby as well. So keep your eye out for those. And now for this one, Hobby Lobby does also sell a large version of the asparagus bush. So this is really great if you have very big arrangements that you are looking to style. You can just pop one of these in. It's a great everyday greenery piece as well. So we're going to use this. And to this one, we're going to add the mauve and beige Cosmo stems that are also from Hobby Lobby. For these Cosmos, I love to use both of the color tones. It gives it that much more of a realistic look, that you're going to have differences in petal color and such. And it's the same with the white ones I did earlier. I have white and cream to just give a little bit of variation in the arrangement, even with it being a subtle touch. And for a complementing arrangement for our last styling today, I'm using this handled vase. This is from Hobby Lobby, super affordable. And we're gonna be using 2 of the small asparagus bush stems. These are just such a great filler piece. I love to use them all year round. And the green color is actually really nice too. So we're just gonna have those kind of tucked in. And we're going to add just a few more of the Cosmos that we did in the front arrangement. So that is going to wrap up today's video, friends. I sure hope you enjoyed seeing how I put together some of my go-to summer floral arrangements. As always, you can always swap out the colors that I use, the type of florals, do something that's more your preference. And I hope some of these tips and tricks that I shared in the last video help you create these beautiful floral arrangements for your own homes as well. As always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me here today, and I will see you in my next video, friends. Bye.